This is absolutely lit. This is lit.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Dark Times with Dark Match Steve. That is me. Welcome. Guys, we're doing a quick one tonight. I'm going to be off of here in like 5 minutes. So, if I say that, it's going to be 5 hours. No, we're doing a short stream tonight. We're taking a look at the Long Island Audit video. Okay? Now, I've actually been waiting, I was waiting for this to get released. For some reason, I don't know, on Facebook or YouTube, one of the two, I saw the teaser for this. The Long Island Audit guy, the auditor, explaining he had some kind of crazy, like the worst interaction he's had with a cop since he started trolling, legally ignorant citizens and police. Since he started his journey with auditing law enforcement and the public and stuff, this is probably one of the worst things. Or maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about here. I haven't heard of any worse interaction that he's had with the police, but I'm thinking this is probably the worst because he's really, they're making a big deal about this. So we're going to take a look at that video. It looks like, and I haven't watched it yet, but it looks like his attorney or some attorney he has released a video. Well, it's on his channel, the Long Island Audit channel, where this attorney's breaking down the video. The title or the clickbait for the video is that the Long Island Audit guy says, I was wrong about everything, or I was very wrong, or something. So I guess this attorney's going to bring his, his legal advice to this. I have no idea if he's going to say, like, this is 10 times worse than I thought it was, or if he's going to say, oh, well, this attorney says apparently the police are allowed to, I don't want to give anything away, but, the police are allowed to do terrible things. We'll see. Maybe that's, and I got a couple other videos saved that we can get to if we have time, but it should be probably like an hour, guys. I'm going to be on here. It's Friday night. I'm letting you guys out of here so you can go out there and shake that ass like I know you guys want to. It's Friday night. Go out somewhere and shake that ass. If you're a man, just go out there and start helicoptering. I want to see the ladies shaking their asses. I want to see the men doing the helicopter. All right, let me get to the chat. You guys know the rules with the chat. First one in the chat. It's a little incentive program we've got working here at Dark Times with Dark Match Steve. As the first person in the chat gets a free prostate milking from yours truly. I don't have time to go through all the rules with the prostate milkings, okay? Bob Cook, congratulations. DMS, take it easy. I'm going to. You and I, Bob Cook, we're going to get to know each other very well, it seems. You've gotten a few free prostate milking coupons, you could say, being first in the chat. And then also your lady friend, Stacy G, has gotten a few of them. And she's told me that those, if you're a woman in the chat, you don't have a prostate. So if you're first, you still get the free prostate milking coupon, per se. IOU, basically, but you're allowed to gift that to a man, and it seems she's told me that she's giving them all to Bob Cook. So Bob Cook's got a nice little collection going. These free prostate milkings, they are basically like a new form of currency on the internet these days. It's like a cryptocurrency or an NFT or something like that. They're actually, they have value. People like to trade them. Grando Reaper's in here. Stephen Colbert, Azzy Fudd, Dylan Dreyer, don't care. Coldplay Cheaters, Ring Cameras, Rupert Murdoch. Bro, I appreciate it. Yeah, he says that's all that's all the trending topics today. So you will get crazy views in the algo. No, I am not. I'm done, guys. Worrying about the fucking this week. Guys, I've got a lot of shit going on. I really do. And if the fucking algos want to be abusive, merciless to me, then so be it. I'm just trying to cover topics that I care about, and I think some people maybe would care about if they don't already. And and I get punished for it. So, it is what it is. It's okay. Michael Earl's in here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the support. We're in a bad algo tonight too. Berto Perez, welcome. Mr. 813, should I could watch the car chase all night? The intro video? Don't be too enamored by the intro videos. That's just to get your palate, cleansed. Rainy's in here. Guys, hit up Rainy if you're interested in getting a nice property in, where was it, New York? And also she's got a property that's next to Richard Branson's property in the Virgin Islands. It's called Little St. James. So she's got 2 different properties she's looking to move. Please DM Rainy. They're really cool properties. Scott Starbird's in here. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Scott? How's it going? Good to see you. Even though I'm not seeing you. No Scott live tonight. One-ish. Holyoke Joe is okay. To put his belt on. One-ish, bro. What is Holyoke Joe? Would you please unban this guy so that you and him can go at it? Because you guys seem like you'd be a fun little. The beef between you guys would be entertaining. One-ish. Welcome. All right, let's get to this. Where am I going? What do I got this? Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, guys, I heard Trump talking about they are going to release stuff now and whatever. I'm not even going to entertain the thought of trying to look into that and cover that on the stream. I'm done with getting cock teased. I'm done with it. At least for the week. I told you guys. At a certain point, you just got to move on. Let me get you guys on this tab with me. Oh, what the fuck did I... Okay, here it is. All right, so let's take a look at this. I guess we'll play this from the top. Now, if you go to this guy's channel, you'll see that... Okay. Oh, videos. Here we go. So, 5 days ago... Well, spoiler alert, unhinged cop spits in my face. So this cop actually spits in his fucking face. I've not watched the full video yet. The only thing I saw was his teaser. This might have been over 5. Oh, yeah. This video I saw, but it was on Facebook. For some reason, sometime when I was on Facebook, a couple of these, audit police auditor pages got recommended, a couple videos pop up, and I love going over some of these videos and just seeing how it plays out. And yeah, so I follow a few of these pages on Facebook, and they'll randomly come up, recommended or whatever, a reel or a fucking 10-minute video of them fucking with the cops. So this is a video I clicked on where he just explains kind of what happened. This, if you'll see here on his page, he's got The cop spit in my face. He's got 775,000 views. And then he's got the next one is the whole Fahey or Fahey. I don't know. This cop, it's Sergeant Fahey, whatever. Fahey. So there's this video. He's really and I don't get me wrong. I'd be milking this too. So this is his fourth video about this event happening. I guess if you get spit in your face by a cop, bare minimum, if you're not able to sue him out of a home, you should at least get 1 million views. And he's probably way beyond that. I mean, this is over 1 million with these three so far. Yeah, so let's take a look at this one. This is the latest video. He says, I was completely wrong. This is, I guess, an attorney adding some commentary to this. So let's just take a look at it and see where
I was completely wrong about the criminal charges against Connecticut State Trooper Sergeant Brian Fahey.
Right now.
You spit in my face.
My property
You're
right
going
now.
to jail now.
Get
Look
off
at
my
this.
property
Look
right
at
now.
this. He spit in my
Get off my
face.
So Scott Starbird played a little bit of this, and I looked away. Scott made some interesting. Well, you know, I guess a lot of people are torn on these guys. Now, the fucking police auditors, I support 100% what these guys are doing. I just think a lot of them are cringe. I can simultaneously have both those positions where I think you're cringe and some of it is like actually retarded. Like when this guy's like talking to the camera and whatever. I mean, I just some of it is just very cringe. The cop just spit in my face. Did you see what happened? He goes up to the camera like, and a lot of the time it's just fucking like, it's some fucking dumb cop and they don't know, they got a call, they don't know what the fuck they're supposed to do. They show up and these guys act like fucking assholes and they have the right to. And a lot of the time legally they are right, but sometimes it's just fucking annoying. This guy is normally like, you know, it's watchable. But, you know, all of them, it's kind of, this is the issue with the cringe level is that they're kind of, the nature of being a auditor, one of these, I have the right to videotape on public property auditors, is that it's petty. Now, is it good sometimes to be petty? Or, you know, if you're testing the limits, because if we're going to have laws and the police are supposed to enforce the laws and someone calls them and says someone is doing a legally protected activity, but it's annoying me. Could you come up and deal with them? The cops shouldn't even show up, but they do. So this has to be ironed out within society and the protocols with the cops and everything like that. It is baffling to me that someone can just call the cops and tell them this person's standing on public property and they're recording something and the cops actually show up. It's like if you called the cops and told them someone's walking their dog or something. It's just like, you're calling the cops about something that's legal, but you just don't like it personally. And they actually show up. Like, that is a waste of my tax dollars. So we need to get this figured out. So yes, I support this, but is it sometimes cringe and retarded? Yes, very much so.
I think it's stretching to suggest that spitting is assault under Connecticut law. What the spitting does do is it enhances the threatening nature of Fahey's conduct.
This is the biggest mistake you ever made.
No. Especially because it occurred while he was armed.
Look at the gun in his hand.
All right, let's go. Wait, let me check on the chat before we get to Scott Starbird. DMS, watch the original video when the cop ripped his phone out of his hands like a week earlier. I didn't have time. Oh, yeah, so this is an ongoing... Yeah, I forget what the guy's story is, but this is an ongoing thing with this cop. He's had interactions with this guy. Scott says it's Fahey. Yeah, Fahey. Berto Perez, what's up, family? Yeah, this should be interesting.
Hey, what's up, guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. I recently came across a video posted by the YouTube channel Southern Drawl Law, which is run by James White, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor and law enforcement officer. He did an absolutely brilliant job with his legal analysis, breaking down my encounter with Sergeant Brian Fahey. So much so that after watching his video, I realized how wrong I was about the criminal charges against Fahey. If you care about this incident at all, this is a must watch. Please hit the like button and share this video because the world needs to see this invaluable information. Let's get into it.
So first thing, I think it's pretty obvious and pretty well widely accepted that there's an implied license where there's no communication from the homeowner that there is no trespassing sign on the property. That journalists do it all the time. I mean, hell, if you watch Jody Barr, that cat will sit in your kitchen and eat your cereal out of the box. Like he's all up in your business. He don't care where you are. So these investigative journalists really don't really intimidate. And that's one of the things that I love about Sean, because a lot of people will call him an instigator. But the truth is, everything that he does is conducting himself like a journalist. The only difference is that the things that he does, like the billboard truck and things like that, are things you could never do if you had a boss. So that's where the independent part comes in, right? Because even Jody Barr or Dave Biscobing is probably not going to get cleared by corporate to go put a billboard truck in somebody's neighborhood, right? So that's the freedom that comes along with being an independent journalist. And I don't think there's any argument to.
Oh, yeah. Grando Reaper, I understand fatigue with the same story, but us as citizens should not move on from making PDF files accountable. Bro, I completely agree. We're gonna get back into it. I'm just letting some more stuff unfold because, guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to be true to the game and just do a stream that I would like and that I also like doing if that's possible to do both of those. And I'm not gonna, I feel on this one level, it just wouldn't be right. There's probably some people that watch my stream that would like some more updates or for me to take a look at some stuff. I don't know. But I just don't want to beat you guys over the head with the same fucking story when there's just not. I know how I get. If I start pulling up Trump stuff, I'm going to go on a rant. I'm going to be repeating myself 5 days a week, talking about how disappointed I am and stuff. It's just like, let's do something fun. It's Friday, whatever. I don't believe when I heard. So first news I got about Trump and anything progressing with the Epstein shit was Bubba's show. I listened this morning. I don't know if I got in the chat at all this morning, because I woke up a little late and I was busy as fuck, and then I went to work. I didn't have time. I worked out and listened, and that was the first I heard anything about. Donald Trump says they're supposed to actually be releasing whatever. I don't know. I don't have any expectations of it being satisfactory. There's no way that Trump goes on days and days talking about how now he's calling the whole Epstein thing a hoax, and if you are a supporter of Trump that wanted to see this information released, he considers you as a past supporter, and we don't need your support anymore because you want to see the Epstein files that I practically campaigned on releasing. It's just like, how can anyone expect that we're gonna? I mean, guys, we'll see what happens, but I don't want to for days on end just be edging everybody with that. But for sure, we are not moving on. There are people that are, quote, moving on as a sign of support for Trump. That is not what I'm doing. Okay, let me be clear. I am moving on because I am actually annoyed, and we are coming back. Yes, I'm fatigued. I got Trump fatigue. we are temporarily fatigued, and we're going to revisit the subject and whatever, keep up with it, but I'm not going to make it the fucking main subject of my stream 5 nights a week and at the end of the week have the same info that we had at the beginning of the week. I'm just not going to do that.
Be made that he broke the law by knocking on the door. There is an accepted implied license allowing members of the public to approach a residence for lawful purposes, like knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell. Sean very clearly exercised that right. I think his cameraman was off 10 to 15, 20 feet in the yard. It's hard to tell because of the camera. And Sean did something really important that will come in later, which is that he rang the doorbell and stepped off the porch, meaning he wasn't looking for a confrontation. If he was looking for a confrontation, he would have stayed up on the porch and been face-to-face with the man in his doorway. And that would have been an enormous mistake. But he didn't do that. He intentionally stepped off the front porch to avoid a confrontation, which I think kills a lot of the arguments in favor of any criminal charge relating to him even being on the porch in the first place.
Oh, I'm currently being recorded, his Ring camera said.
Can I help you?
Hey, Sergeant Fahey, how are you?
Now, under Connecticut law, Fahey would have the ability to use reasonable force to eject a trespasser. Now, remember that the status changes, basically. You're not a trespasser due to the implied license when you approach the door, but the second that he tells you, get off my property, that transforms Sean Paul into a trespasser if he is not leaving. But you can't see the cameraman move, but you hear about 5 seconds later, Sean give the cameraman the command to let's go, come with me, whatever he says. Sean says in his commentary that he is already moving back. And we can't see that. We have no reason not to believe that. Had Fahey already had a gun in his hand when he answered the door, I think the analysis in this case would be a little bit different. But obviously, by the time Fahey goes back inside and grabs a gun and comes back on the phone with 911, his right to use an elevated level of force, like a threat of deadly force, is pretty much extinguished because Sean is no longer on the curtilage of his.
Bro, that is nuts. So this cop told him to leave, and he's leaving. See, look, if I think he already talked about it. If you don't have it clearly marked at the start of your driveway, like no trespassing, this is a private road, do not drive down this road, and the mailbox is out there and everything, it's like, you're not supposed to come down the driveway. But it's like delivery guys, fucking somebody has a fucking letter they have to bring to you themselves, or fucking like it doesn't, it's not trespassers will be shot signs all over the place. You can't expect that you knock on someone's door, come down their driveway, innocently knock on their door, and give them space, get off the porch and give them space safely. You shouldn't expect that they're gonna say, get off my property, and as you're walking away, they go run and grab a gun and start chasing you. That is actually unhinged.
I just want to say here that I noticed this when I first watched the video, but I must have overlooked it when I was doing my commentary. But it's obvious here that...
Wait. Is this 2 different houses back here? So this driveway, I wonder if he owns both these properties. They're probably going to get into it now, but this even, I guess this isn't a public road, probably. I don't know. They probably have a shared driveway. I don't know how that would work. But that is definitely, you're definitely crossing the line. If this is a shared driveway and this motherfucker knocked on your porch, you told him to leave and he's leaving, and you go to fucking grab your pistol.
Where Sean is by the time Fahey actually makes it out with the gun, he's not even actually on his sole property anymore.
Oh my God, here we go. Guys, I did not watch this video yet. This is how well I know the law. This is how good I pay attention. How good my grammar is and how well I pay attention.
It looks like he's, maybe several hundred feet away from the house, and it looks like he's just on this common driveway that is jointly owned. We don't...
Oh, this is bad for the cop right here. This isn't even your driveway. This is not your property.
Even know whether Fahey has the actual legal authority to eject him from this property itself. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the point is, his level of force that he's reasonably allowed to use is almost nothing at this point. It certainly doesn't involve a gun.
Oh, that's not good for Sergeant Fahey.
And spitting and all the things you're getting ready to see.
Property. Well, do you see me not moving?
All the way to the cul-de-sac.
Calm down.
Get off my
property. Get that gun out of your hand.
Get off my property.
Get that gun
I'm
out
a
of your hand.
goddamn Connecticut State Trooper.
I don't care who you are.
Trespassing
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are.
Get off my
I don't care who you are.
right now.
You spit in my face.
My property
You're
right
going
now.
to jail now.
Get
Look
off
at
my
this.
property
Look
right
at this.
Now, this is where I would disagree.
So, yeah, look at this. It's unfortunate, but it wasn't a loogie. It was just like he kind of went like Triple H. You guys remember Triple H, how he would spit the water? That's the cop did a Triple H type spit, and it was just kind of misty. So you can't really see the loogie dripping down his face, which is what, when I heard about this incident, I wanted to see that. I wanted to see a cop's loogie of spit dripping down this guy's face. But all we get is like, 1/10 of a Triple H spit.
I watched a live stream that Sean had where he had a police officer from Texas, I think, on his live stream, and he had an attorney that I think had previously represented him in some Connecticut litigation. I think it's stretching to suggest that spitting is assault under Connecticut law. And the reason I say that is because I actually think that in this particular case, the police officers got that right. If you look at Connecticut law,
What the fuck? What is going on in Connecticut that it's not illegal for a cop to spit in somebody's face? You hear stuff about how Florida is fucked up or like West Virginia or something. What is going on in Connecticut?
does in fact require, for the purposes of assault, physical injury. And you don't need it. And I'll explain why. There's other laws that could be implicated here that,
thank God,
cover this conduct. You don't need to make this long argument about how getting spit in your face is an assault. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I think that the way that Sean conducted himself and the composure that he showed in the face of getting spit in his mouth was incredible, the restraint that he showed, but I don't believe that it qualifies under Connecticut law as assault. It clearly says physical injury. If Sean had contracted AIDS or hepatitis as a result of having mouth spit and he had followed up with a doctor, sure, that could be charged later. But
that's how I got AIDS. Some cop spit in my mouth.
Idea that you immediately assume physical injury simply because somebody spits on you. And I don't mean to say simply because to minimize the gravity of being spat upon, but the point is it just does not have statutory footing and you don't need it. That's why the spitting, in my opinion, is not an actual assault.
Yeah, Grando Reaper, he basically spit in his mouth. There's not much on his face that you can see at all. Even if it was a loogie, it would have gone right down his throat. Dude, that's fucking disgusting. It was basically like most of it got in his mouth and some of it probably touched his lips. It was like a mist of cop spit. Probably tasted like fucking donuts and coffee. Junior Coltrane. I pride myself on always being logical when analyzing these types of videos. I pride myself in being completely retarded, but still being able to comprehend what's going on. I'd rather be physically assaulted than be spit on. It depends. Depends on the situation. Are we talking in the bedroom? Or are we talking when I show up at a cop's house? Those would be very different. We know you're a bug chaser. I just go around looking for cops to spit in my mouth, yes. This guy's a bug chaser too. Finally, he got what he wanted, a cop spit in his face.
Under Connecticut law. What the spitting does do is it enhances the threatening nature of Fahey's conduct, especially because it occurred while he was armed and during a continually aggressive confrontation that was not reasonable under the circumstances. And that's why it opens the door to a law.
Guys, I got to grab another bottle of water. I got one right here. Hold on. Hold on. Oh. Rubio! Rubio.
All that does actually fit, and that is threatening in the second and first degree under Connecticut law. Threatening in the second degree involves intentionally placing another person in fear of imminent serious physical injury through physical threat or menacing behavior. Okay, so that's where we start. There's no argument really to be made that disorderly conduct and breach of the peace are present at the time of the spitting or in the yard or anything like that. What you have to remember that disorderly conduct and breach of the peace are traditionally public offenses. So I don't think you can make the argument that when you're standing on somebody's porch or in their yard and they're trying to eject you as a trespasser.
I see where he's going with this. It's private property.
Or even on a private road that is labeled as private road, that you can invoke sort of the danger to the public or the public element. A public element is an essential element of a breach of the peace. It's specifically enumerated statutorily for breach of the peace, but it's also in case law been adjudicated as being necessary for disorderly conduct. In fact, in Tennessee.
Yeah, but so I have two, Junior. I guess it's a state-by-state deal, though. I mean, I guess every state doesn't have the same standards for that.
Our statute says in a public place. So it doesn't say that in Connecticut statute, but the courts have held that there's a public element. There has to be an exposure or at least a risk to somebody else in general public in order for disorderly conduct to be in play. So the argument that Fahey's conduct qualifies as a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct, for the most part, is null and void, in my opinion. I don't think it fits the factual circumstances. But again, you don't need assault, you don't need disorderly conduct, and you don't need breach of the peace in order for this to work in Sean Paul's favor. So let's walk through what you do actually have here that's pretty clear cut so that we can forget the argument that we need to stretch the facts and circumstances to make particular things work. Those offenses are misdemeanors. Threatening in the first degree is a felony, and that's actually what happened here. If you look at the threatening statute in Connecticut, the one to look at is...
Here we go. We got some felonies. Sergeant. Threatening in the second degree by physical threat, such person intentionally places or attempts to place another person in fear of imminent serious... there we go. There we go, buddy.
Threatening second degree. So let me kind of break that down for a second here. Threatening in the second degree involves intentionally placing another person in fear of imminent serious physical injury through physical threat or menacing behavior. Had Fahey walked out on his porch or even down and stood in his yard with a gun at his side, I think that's fine. But pursuing Sean Paul as he's retreating from the home, making it obvious that he is, to the extent he ever was a threat, is no longer a threat, to come up to him with an unholstered weapon down at your side, on the phone with 911, screaming and acting like a complete animal the way Fahey does. He absolutely placed Sean or any reasonable person when another person has a gun, not in a holster, by the way, and that matters. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Not in a holster, down by their side. All it takes is now an invitation for a physical confrontation in order for that to become a deadly force scenario. And
guys, remember last night, the Funko Pops? This guy has a fucking Funko Pop. Look at this.
And when you combine that with the
it's disgusting. I no longer support this guy. I can't trust anything he's saying right now. He has a Funko Pop.
Sort of close
guy's brain is mush.
Proximity pursuit that Fahey conducted of Sean Paul as he was trying to retreat. And then the intentional body checking and then the spitting in the face. That's absolutely placing any reasonable person in fear that, hey, this is going to turn into an actual physical fight, and now there's a gun involved. There's really no argument that this is not threatening at a minimum in a second degree. But threatening in the first degree starts with the baseline of threatening in the second degree, which we've already satisfied the elements of based on Fahey's conduct.
Hold on. What's Scott saying? Junior said Scott 100%. Hold on a second. In all the courts I've been in since the late 80s, I've seen white people get harsher rulings from judges while black people got slaps on the wrists. Bro, there was this one video that was funny as fuck, and it was, man, I bet I think I saved it a long time ago or something. I doubt I'd be able to find it even if I tried. But it's this black guy who got busted for weed, and the cop was there in the court, and the defendant, the black guy, was like standing. I forget. He's either at the podium or he's at his desk. I don't think he even has an attorney. He's just like there, and the cop or the judge asked the cop what happened, and the cop's like, "Oh well, he was jaywalking, so I stopped him, and he smelled like marijuana, so I searched him and arrested him." And the judge is like, "Case dismissed. You arrested this black guy for walking while black. Case dismissed." And you could just tell the black guy was just like, "Wait, what? Damn, Judge, that's my dog."
And if a firearm or another deadly weapon is used, displayed, or implied as a threat during an encounter, then you elevate that from second degree to first degree threatening, and that is a D felony under Connecticut law. So Fahey's conduct meets both thresholds. He was visibly armed. He intentionally closed the distance to within inches of Reyes. He spat in his face. He body checked him, and he continually escalated a verbal confrontation while holding an unholstered weapon and announcing himself as a Connecticut state trooper without the privilege of the self-defense that he would have been afforded back on his porch, right?
Alberto says, "DMS, I'm telling you, the Funko Pops will make you money." Bro, if I could only find the fucking landfill where the Funko Pop company dumped $100-some million worth of their Funko Pop products because the trend died down and they couldn't afford to keep paying for storage. If I could just find that landfill, we could all be rich. We flood the market, make some money before anyone knew what happened. Oh, Adam, over on the Twitter, bro, I saw a note at a corner of my eye. I saw some notifications. Thank you, sir, for reposting. I appreciate it. How you doing? This is the guy with the mushroom gummies and fresh chicken eggs. Just like Beanie Babies. Yeah, bro, I wish Beanie Babies would come back. I'll dig those out of my fucking mom's attic. I have no problem doing that and cleaning the rat shit off of them. I have no if there's money in it, I got no problem sticking my hands in rat shit.
All of that
and passing that rat shit on to the next person.
matters because it takes him out of the privilege of a law enforcement officer. Now, if this was in Groton or Crouton or Groton or however the hell you say it, it would be different if Fahey was not a Connecticut state trooper. But a Connecticut state trooper has statewide jurisdiction. So him announcing himself absolutely elevated himself to acting under the color of law. We'll talk about that more in a couple minutes. But this is a situation where he actually committed a much more serious offense than the ones the attorney was arguing for in the initial sort of backdrop of what happened here. Now, I don't blame him for that because we're all emotionally charged, right? These are people that he cares about. He's just sort of grasping at straws. But the problem is, if you make the argument that Fahey is guilty of breach of the peace and disorderly conduct, it at least shifts some scrutiny to Sean Paul because he's doing, while not nearly as egregious, he's sort of mutually involved in some of this stuff. And so I think it's bad for your client if you're making an argument that it's okay for Fahey's lawn to be public for the purposes of breach of the peace and disorderly conduct when those charges really don't carry much of a penalty at all. And it sort of places scrutiny unnecessarily on Sean Paul, when the truth is there are other arguments to be made. So let's continue and we'll finish up our other arguments to be made as it relates to these things.
Passing on my property.
That doesn't matter.
You threatened to kill me. You threatened to kill me online.
Right. No,
Get
I
off
did
my
not. You're a
property
liar.
right now.
A liar.
This cop is nuts. I could see this, I don't know this guy. He's doing all this auditing stuff. I'm sure his, part of him is very much like, he's got so much, he is such a proponent of the Constitution and our rights and stuff like that, that his heart is probably in it. I don't know if I'd put it past him for doing anything for clicks, but I do not see this guy putting death threats online. So for some reason, this cop is just insane.
right now.
Look, see the
Get
big
off
beautiful
my
billboard
property.
truck? It's all being recorded.
I don't care.
It's all being. I
Get
know you
off
don't
my
care
property
because you don't face any
right now.
consequences.
Get
You
off
don't
my
face any
property
consequences
right now.
There's the argument made that Fahey committed defamation by saying that Sean Paul had threatened him online. Defamation
Uh-oh.
requires publication to a third party who is not the subject of the statement, and it can't be privileged, okay? Statements to 911 operators are generally privileged, and statements to the police in the process of reporting what you believe to be a crime are generally privileged and not subject to action under defamation law. The only person that he's published this to is Sean, and at most the 911 dispatcher. This is really not actionable or even considerable under a defamation law or for the purposes of a defamation tort.
This is the biggest mistake you ever made.
Oh, that's disappointing. So what? This guy, he's taking part in his own defamation by releasing this video, but it's still the cops lying.
No, it's not.
This
It's
is
the biggest mistake you ever made. No,
Get
it's
off
not.
my property right now.
It's not the biggest mistake
Get
I
off
ever
my
made.
property right
It's
now.
not the biggest mistake.
Get
It's
off
like you
my
like spit in my face.
I didn't spit in your face.
You
I
disgusting.
was spitting on you.
The public element of disorderly
What the fuck? This is a this is a sergeant. Guys, look at this. Holy shit.
conduct, in my opinion, is not present back in the yard. But watch this. Watch after the spitting happens. So, in my opinion, you lose the privilege of self-defense with chasing him down, bringing a gun out, all that stuff. So we have, in my opinion, threatening second and threatening first because of the introduction to the firearm, right? All at the same time, and the spitting and all the things, right? Under the totality of the circumstances. But watch what happens here at the end. For about 50 seconds, Fahey is continuously crossing back and forth over a public sidewalk at the end of this private driveway. And Sean Paul is standing in public. Now, Connecticut does have a duty to retreat, but you have one armed guy and you have one guy acting like a complete lunatic with an unholstered gun. There is a scenario where a person sort of rolling up on the scene, not being a police officer, not knowing what's going on, could have felt like Reyes was in potential danger of death or serious bodily injury and could have
and could have shot the cop. That would have been funny.
shot Fahey, and I think a jury might have acquitted them in that situation because the duty to retreat only works if you have the time to do that. If you rolled up on this scene in that 50-second window where Fahey is very clearly in public and acting in such a menacing way while holding an unholstered weapon, I think it might have been reasonable for a third party to be like, uh-oh, we need to put some rounds in this guy before he kills this person. So that may not be, in my hypothetical, ultimately a legal justification for use of deadly force, but it certainly makes Fahey's conduct a breach of the peace and disorderly because it's fighting words after he spit in his face, and now he's actually in public. So again, you don't have to conflate the privacy of this guy's property in order to get to breach of peace and disorderly conduct. It just wasn't breach of peace and disorderly conduct back when they were on private property. But there's a full minute here where this guy's pacing back and forth and acting like a complete idiot while holding a gun and on the phone with 911, where all of those things could have elementally been met.
I'm gonna go. What a crazy psychopath. He spit in my face. No, I'm an independent journalist. Get it right, buddy. Get it right. I never threatened. He said I threatened to kill him. Ooh, I knocked on your front door. I'll get that 911 call too, buddy. Look at this guy. He probably, I'm a Connecticut State Trooper. Come help me from the camera. Come help me from the guy asking me questions, please, before I shoot him. And I did. No, you spit in my face and you're going to jail. And you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You spit in my face and you're going to. It's all right here, buddy. Right here. It's all right here. It's all right here, buddy. Look at these guys. Look.
Bro, the auditor guy's like, you spit in my face, and the cop just goes, no, I spit on you. On my face, yes. What is the difference? This cop is retarded and crazy. Is this the standard for sergeants in Connecticut? Holy fuck, what is going on over there? America is just like crumbling.
Look. I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not doing anything. He just spit in my face.
Get over here.
Well, I didn't break any laws.
In a second, okay?
For what? I haven't broken the law. No. But do you have reasonable article suspicion I committed a crime? What is it? What is it? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm a journalist. I knocked on the door and asked questions. No, I have no weapons on me. We have a camera of master strap. I'm putting my camera down.
Don't move until I get backup units. You can put it away.
What's your name?
Officer Romansky says right here. No, just stay right
He
here.
pulled out a gun on me for knocking on the door?
You're on his property.
I'm allowed to go on his property and knock on the door. Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to
Oh my God, all the cops in Connecticut are retarded.
learn the law, man.
No.
I'm a journalist. No, you got to learn the law.
Okay. Let's just back
I'm allowed to ask questions.
Sure.
I am.
So let me tell you why we're here.
What's wrong with you? I'm not doing anything. I have no weapons on me. I have nothing. You couldn't stop. He has the weapon.
Okay. Now let me explain something to you.
Yeah, no weapons. He has the weapon.
Recording. Okay. So here's the deal. So here's the disconnect here. Here's the difference. So we get a call from him. He calls 911. Hold on.
I'm not going to speak. I'm letting you speak.
Okay. When you call 911 and say you're
I'm
in a
going to record,
disturbance
okay?
with somebody, we come code 3, like my lights are on.
You wouldn't do this for a citizen.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't. You're doing it because he's a state trooper.
No, no, we do it
That's
for
why. You're doing it because
citizens.
he's a state trooper.
Okay, we do it for citizens I've ever seen. Okay.
Not like this.
Yes, 100%.
Don't settle for less. Here's what others are doing to
Oh my God.
fix missing and broken teeth. The company everyone has been raving
I like having broken teeth. I got a couple missing. Sometimes I'll eat and then I got a little chunk of food stuck in there and I save that for later.
All the time. If we think there's an active disturbance, then we respond code 3, which means lights and sirens, and we're in an emergency response.
Do you see the spit on my face?
I don't.
You don't see the spit on my face? Well, I have it on camera. He spit in my face. I want him arrested. He spit in my face. On camera.
Okay.
I want you to lock him up. He spit in my face. You understand that? If I spit in your face, what would happen to me?
Okay, here, listen. Let's just.
I knocked on the door and he spit in my face. You can't do that.
Okay, I got what you're saying. I got what you're saying. Just take a step
There's
back.
spit all over. I'm going to go get DNA test on his spit so you can see it.
Go, do what you gotta do. Let's find out what happened. The whole story.
All right, I'm going to tell you really quick what happened, okay?
No, tell me. Take a minute.
Okay.
Now, why I think that Sean was charged with voyeurism and why he potentially opened himself up to that, although I don't think it's an appropriate charge, I actually have a little bit of a conspiracy theory as to why he was charged with voyeurism. So the elements of voyeurism with malice under Connecticut law, this is a CGS 53A 189AA1. So it's a Class D felony when all the following are proven beyond reasonable doubt: that the defendant photographed, filmed, videotaped, or otherwise recorded the image of another person, knowingly, that they did so knowing what they were doing, that they had a malice, which basically means that they're going to cause pain or distress or embarrassment without consent, and they did it to something that is not in plain view where there was a reasonable expectation of privacy. So when Sean Paul walks up to the door, he rings the doorbell and immediately steps off. Again, I'm glad he did it because I think he's doing it to avoid confrontation, but it also insulates him from any claim that there was voyeurism. And I think it's obvious that a critical understanding of the statute and a critical analysis of the statute, that this arrest lacked probable cause. But the reason I think they did it is because Sean was so traumatized by being spat upon that he pushed these officers to charge something. And except for limited circumstances, you can't make a warrantless arrest for a misdemeanor that didn't occur in your presence in Connecticut. There's like an immediacy clause and there's a couple things going on. These officers came well after the confrontation was over. Sure, there was evidence on tape, but I don't think that this situation would have qualified for an arrest for a misdemeanor that didn't occur in their presence. And so I believe that they arrested Sean for two reasons. One, I think that if they were going to arrest somebody, it was going to be him. They weren't going to arrest Fahey. And so they arrested him for a felony because they couldn't arrest for a misdemeanor that didn't occur in their presence. And two, that is abuse of process, and it sets Fahey up to go ask for a protective order because now Sean has these pending charges. Now, we all know they'll probably be dismissed, but they're pending right now, which set Fahey up to at least file for an ex parte order.
Oh, here we go.
Which are generally granted just based on the allegations and the circumstances. So Fahey goes in, he files an order of protection ex parte and says, hey, this guy showed up at my house at a billboard truck. He was threatening me. He's threatened to kill me in the past. Again, all that may be a lie and it may be criminal for a false report or perjury under the court's rules, but it's not defamation because that stuff is privileged when you're making the arguments to a court or to the police. But I think that they arrested him so that they could set Fahey up to get a protective order and so that they could make an arrest on the scene, and they couldn't do it for a misdemeanor that didn't occur in their presence. So that's what I think, and the reason that he was arrested for voyeurism. And I think the main saving grace was that he just rung the doorbell and stepped off and was 20, 25 feet away from the actual porch when Fahey ultimately told him to leave. So in addition to the other offenses, we have reckless endangerment in the second degree under CGS 53A64. It's a Class B misdemeanor, but it's where the defendant engaged in conduct, and that conduct created a risk of physical injury to another person. Reckless endangerment in the first degree, CGS 53.
Bro, I just like, man, it's crazy to see someone in a position of authority act so unhinged with a gun. I mean, it's bizarre. I know how I am. I'm not the most like buttoned up person in life, but I feel like I just like I would never be so fucking irresponsible with a gun. Someone knocks on my door and I spit in their face and wave a gun around, chasing them down a public driveway. That is like so beyond, I don't know, I would have to be on meth and crack to do something like that. And here we have a sergeant who probably had a cup of coffee, and people in my chat seem to think he's probably on testosterone boosters too. If that's enough to make you lose your mind, you should not be a sergeant. There's just like, there's no debate there. If this is how you act and you aren't on meth, you need a new job.
63 is a Class A misdemeanor. Here's my argument for that. He intentionally walked inside. He intentionally got a gun. He took all of that into account, and yet he did not bring a holster. I can tell you as a former police officer, there's no chance that there wasn't a readily available off-duty, outside the waistband or inside the waistband holster that he could have put that firearm in. Holstered weapon says readiness. It says restraint. It says reasonable. An unholstered weapon, when you're a law enforcement officer down at your side and you understand that you may be starting a physical confrontation, that is reckless endangerment 100%. Not the spitting, which was what the focus of some of the legal analysis was. Yes, there's a stretch that spitting in someone's mouth, if you have bloodborne diseases or something like that, could create a risk of serious bodily injury. But the gun, unholstered, in conjunction with the menacing conduct, also creates reckless endangerment in the first degree under Connecticut law. So this is an easy win for Reyes without venturing into things that also invite scrutiny into his conduct. That's why reckless endangerment probably applies here for Fahey, but not for Reyes. Now, what does this mean as far as claims for Sean? Well, it's pretty obvious that Fahey acted here under color of law. He repeatedly identified himself as a Connecticut State Trooper during the incident. He used his authority, his badge status, and his firearm in confrontation. Keep in mind that when the police officer talking to Sean Paul, they're like, well, you came to a trooper's house, not you came to a citizen's house. They specifically said you came to a trooper, meaning that they considered their response to this call as a response to a fellow law enforcement officer. That, him acting under the color of law, opens the door for a 1983 claim.
Yeah, so a lot of his, because of how the other cops interacted with him, and they were taking the situation almost as if they were responding to a sergeant on duty. And it looks like he's arguing, the lawyer's arguing that the actions taken by Sergeant Fahey are possibly going to be interpreted as, a more serious thing, almost as if like he was on duty. So something like that, because he kept identifying himself as a sergeant. It's sort of implementing his authority into this situation. He was bringing his authority as a sergeant into the situation. He wasn't solely acting as a private citizen. So that could make this a lot stickier for this sergeant.
For First Amendment retaliation because of the filming and the billboard and Fahey's conduct under the color of law. So that opens up the Connecticut State Police. But because of the fact that the Groton PD sort of cooked the books here and tried to help Fahey, instead of observing this objectively, they've opened themselves up for some federal lawsuits too. So in my opinion, here are the claims that are possible under these circumstances for Sean Paul. So you got First Amendment retaliation because this is a clearly protected activity, filming a public official and engaging in speech on matters of public concern, right? First Amendment all day long. Fahey responded by pursuing him with a firearm, spitting in his face, repeatedly invoking his role as a state trooper, indicating that the conduct was motivated by animus towards Sean Paul's free speech. That sort of response to someone exercising their rights would chill a person of ordinary firmness in exercising that right. That's why it qualifies as a free speech retaliation, because there's a causal connection between the exercising of the right and the response and what an ordinary person would do in the face of such a response to exercising their rights. Most people don't have the backbone that Sean Paul Reyes has. They're not going to do this ever, ever, ever again. So that would chill an ordinary person. So that's why we got a First Amendment retaliation claim here on the state police. And then you have excessive use of force under color of law for state police. So you got a Fourth Amendment violation, in my opinion, too, because Fahey used unreasonable force under the circumstance. But as far as Groton PD is concerned, I believe they conspired with Fahey to abuse process, malicious prosecution, First Amendment retaliation on their part, too, because they really didn't arrest him until he kept pushing and kept criticizing their response. So that is First Amendment retaliation. It's also First Amendment retaliation because they repeatedly mentioned his approach to the door, his exercising his First Amendment rights with the billboard, all that stuff. All that was part of their calculus and the totality of the circumstances for them to make an arrest. So they, I think, are subject to retaliation claim as well under the First Amendment. But then we have an arrest for a felony that clearly lacks probable cause. All of those are Fourth Amendment claims that can be made under a 1983 lawsuit. And I think you got a Monell claim for Fahey because you got two previous incidents where they didn't do anything to him as a result of what he did in public at his job. And so you have maybe like the best and worst thing that could have ever happened to Sean Paul Reyes was this incident, because now he's got basically these two police departments on the hook as it relates to 1983 claims. He's like kryptonite to police departments. So in closing.
All right, so we got it here. They're at closing argument. Let's move on. I want to at least get the other video that I have as my thumbnail, as the teaser. I want to at least get that one in. I think it's just a few minutes, but it's an interesting, I have watched this video I'm about to play for you. And I feel like it's a local deal. It's a Florida. Hold on. Yeah, this is a Florida video, and we'll be able to take a look at some of the laws related to Florida and your right to carry. Oh, did I already pass it? Where is it? Okay, here we go. Let me get you guys on this tab. All right. Why is there no volume? Oh.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, why you got your hands on me?
Because you're walking with a firearm.
I know. I'm going fishing. Look, I got a fishing pole.
You're not fishing right now.
I know, I'm going to that fishing pier right there.
Okay, so those of you that don't know, in Florida, we have the law that... So in Florida, it's not legal to open carry, generally speaking. We have concealed... Well, now we have universal concealed carry, where as long as you're legal age to own a firearm, which I think is just 18 and up, maybe it's 21. I don't fucking care. Anyway, if you're allowed to legally possess a firearm, you're not a felon, you're the right age, whatever, then you are allowed to conceal carry it throughout the state. And that's a recent law that they just passed. I think it's been within the last like couple of years or a year or something like that. But anyway, and we've had legal concealed carry permits. You can't get a permit to open carry, and it's illegal generally to open carry unless you are going to or from fishing or hunting. At least I know those two are two exceptions. If you're going fishing or hunting, you're allowed to open carry a firearm. Now, I'm sure there are some people that they are, a lot of these auditors, they're testing the limits of the law and actually seeing how the laws are implemented in these gray areas. Now, this guy is walking to a fishing pier. There's a fishing pier. But it looks like he probably parked, a few blocks. Probably I can't really tell from this video. I don't know where the fuck this is. Is this St. Pete or where the fuck? But it looks like just where you'll see in this video where he points to where the pier is. It looks like he's about at least 3 to maybe 5 city blocks away that he parked. And he has to walk down the beach with his fishing poles and apparently a firearm strapped to his chest. I think he probably has a rifle. So people lost their shit. Now, it's kind of like there's no law saying you have to, if you're going to open carry your firearm to go fishing or hunting, you have to park as close as possible. So this is where people are testing the limits here. You're going to walk down the beach for like a quarter mile with a loaded rifle across your chest. Of course people are going to flip out, but it's your right. So, again, this guy doesn't seem too cringe or overreactive or dramatic or something. Let's just see how this plays out.
Fishing pier. Why do you have your hands on me, man?
Because I'm waiting for
McNasty.
Yeah.
McNasty. I'm sure her name is something close to that. But yeah, so even this, for her to have her fucking hands on him, for a cop to come up and detain you and restrain you when you are doing legally protected activity. It's not this guy's fault that the law doesn't say you have to park as close as possible to the fishing location you're going to. I mean, just think also, if you're not early to, I don't know how it is in, all the beaches around Florida, but the ones that I've gone to a few times, if you're not there early, you can't park near the beach. All the spots are fucking taken. So he may have even been forced to park 5 blocks away. Who knows?
Well, I'm trying to go fishing, and you're stopping me from going fishing.
Okay.
This is against the law.
So it's not.
Yeah, it is. What is your problem?
You can't be walking down.
I'm walking to go fishing, ma'am. I'm going right to that fishing pier.
Okay.
What's your problem? Excuse me, sir. What are you, a sergeant? Who are you? Okay.
Let that go, please. Thank you.
Dude, I was just going fishing.
Okay, but you're not fishing right now, right?
You have to understand the law.
You can't fish here.
I'm not fishing here. I'm going.
Relax.
I'm going.
Sir, you're scaring everybody walking down
That's
the beach.
fine. Dude, sir, you're throwing my $300 fishing pole in the dirt right now.
Now they're throwing his property into the dirt just because the Florida cops are just as retarded as the Connecticut ones.
Yeah, you're going to pay for my $300 fishing pole. I am not fishing here. I am going fishing to the fishing pier. That is where I haven't fished. I haven't thrown a fishing pole. I haven't done anything.
You want to go up to
The cop's like, you're not allowed to fish here on the beach. He's like, yeah, no shit. I'm going to the pier.
No, we're not. I'm not breaking the law. I'm not breaking the law.
Do you think it's appropriate walking down?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Where there's children and everybody on the
Absolutely.
beach? Do you
Yes.
think that's appropriate?
Yes.
And the cops are going, do you think that's appropriate? They're going with what's appropriate. They're appropriate enforcement, not law enforcement. These guys are just out protecting other people's feelings because there's children that are scared of legally protected activity. They're not enforcing the law.
You don't think that's going to
They're enforcing feelings.
cause problems?
I get people might call.
How about we go up there?
No, I don't want to go call. 901-151. What law did I break? What law did? No. What law did I break? What law did I break?
Listen, there's city ordinances.
I didn't fish here.
Okay.
I'm going to the fishing pier right there.
You walk the entire beach to go to the fishing
I
pier?
can walk
There's
any.
parking right
It's
there at the
going
end of the
to.
pier.
It's going
It'll be
to.
much more accessible.
It's going to and returning from. It doesn't matter where I am trying to go fishing. It's about going to and returning from.
Okay.
I can walk anywhere I want to go trying to go fishing. And I'm literally telling you, I'm going to. Dude, you don't have to hold my hand like I'm a criminal.
Relax. Just relax.
I haven't done.
Look, my guy, you've got a gun strapped to your chest.
I get it, dude.
And that's why we're doing what we're doing. So relax.
Because I'm not.
Relax.
Did you swear an oath to the Constitution?
100%.
Despite his attempt to reason with Lieutenant Hasty and Detective Kappa, as well as explaining the law to them regarding open carrying while traveling to go fishing, the officers maintain their detention as multiple backup units arrive on scene.
What's the problem with you guys defending your oath to the Constitution of Florida and the United States? What's the problem?
Oh my God, is that me?
Am I lawfully allowed to do what I'm doing? Am I lawfully allowed? I don't care. Am I lawfully allowed to do? I don't have to listen. Am I lawfully allowed to do what I'm doing? Yes or no? Am I lawfully allowed to do what I'm doing?
Bro, so I understand this guy's frustration. There's no questions I have to answer when I'm doing a legally protected activity. You're not breaking the law. There's fish out there I'm missing. They're swimming right by and I could be catching them, you fucking scumbags.
I don't need to listen. Am I lawfully allowed to do what I'm doing?
Okay, you're going fishing, right?
Yes, I'm going to that pier. You don't need to know why.
Why do you need a firearm to go fishing? It doesn't matter. It's legal.
You don't need to know a reason.
Can you give me a reasonable answer to that?
Yes.
Why do the police uniforms have to be blue? Who the fuck cares?
I've almost been robbed while I've been fishing. I need whatever I need to protect myself.
Okay. Just stay detained. You're not under arrest.
All right. What law did I break?
We're going to get to the bottom of all that.
What law did I break? No. Do you have body cams?
I do. Sure.
Okay. Is it running?
Yes, it is.
Okay. What law did I break? What law did I break? Am I allowed to go fishing while hunting, fishing, or camping? Yes or no, sir? Yes.
He meant to say, am I allowed to open carry while going hunting or fishing? And the answer is yes.
Or no?
You seem to know it pretty well.
I know it. Okay. I do this across the state of. I know that. I'm going fishing to that fucking fishing pier. You don't.
Okay. Now you got to be nasty.
Why am I in handcuffs? Why are you
detained?
Why are you?
Why do you have to be so nasty? Well, because you handcuffed me when I done nothing wrong. Because you guys are so hopped up on coffee and donuts.
Taking my phone. I don't consent to any search or seizure. You're seizing my. You guys are
in the same place right now.
No, I'm not. No, you're not protecting me. You're stripping me of my rights.
Get your money, bro. Get an attorney and get that fucking stack.
Your state attorney. Call your state attorney and see if they want to prosecute a guy walking to go fishing. I'm walking to that fishing pier right now. That's where I am going. Okay, so at this point, you are a piece of shit. You want us to do one hand?
Yeah, I got it. Take outside the box.
Hey, did you swear an oath to the Constitution?
I did.
You're a piece of shit.
Did you serve, sir?
Don't worry about it if I serve. You guys.
Officer Moore tells Solo that he served in the military, which should only hold him more accountable. His declaration only makes him look even.
I've served in the military. I fought overseas so that people from those countries can't come over here and strip you of your rights. That's my job to strip you of your rights.
More ridiculous as he removes the weapon sling in the most difficult way possible, as it is affixed with a quick detached swivel.
Why don't you just use the cute email, dude? Just use the cute email, because I gotta...
Can you relax? What's your name?
Don't worry about what my name
Okay,
is.
well, I was just gonna ask if you could just hang out with us for a little bit.
I don't want to hang out with you. I want to go fishing. That's all I want to do is go fishing.
That's all these cops want is someone to hang out with. They're just lonely.
That's all I was doing, is going fishing.
Okay.
And I was walking to go fishing.
So you weren't trying to get a reaction?
No, I don't.
Looking at the tire stand.
It doesn't matter. It's going. I get what you're trying to tell me, but I'm allowed to do it through the state of Florida. I'm not. You're
Solo reiterates that he does not want to identify or stay with the officers.
I don't know what to call you.
Don't worry about what they call me, dude. I'm lawfully allowed to go where I'm going.
You understand the concern that
I don't care about people's concerns. I care about your reaction.
The officers eventually bring Solo to their cruiser, and as Solo is placed into the vehicle,
Don't mess with my procedure. You're pointing my gun.
Dude, I didn't watch this far. I didn't know they actually took him back to the police cruiser. I assumed they let him go.
In my direction, sir. And there's one chambered in there.
Oh my god, they fucking muzzled him. Bro, this is what I'm saying. I can't believe I have better standards than any cop. I'm not saying I have better standards with firearms than all cops. I'm just saying I'm surprised that there's any cop on duty that has shittier standards for handling firearms than I do. That is crazy. I'm an idiot. I should have already accidentally shot myself.
Whatever, dude. Never need to point a firearm at somebody.
the officers huddle up and share some smiles
They fucking pointed it at him. Jokers. Jokers.
over the encounter, and after a few minutes, they attempt to have him identify again, during which the officer claims he is aware of the law and that they need to determine whether Solo is a felon despite having any reasonable suspicion of criminal activity or probable cause to effect an arrest.
Can't get my out, dude.
Hey, sir.
So basically what it is the law is really complicated and the cops violate people's rights by trying to force the citizen to make the cop and the rest of the public feel comfortable with what the law is. You guys get it? It's legal for him to carry the fucking gun open in public on the way to hunt or fish. And some people, including the police, are uncomfortable with that. So they violate his rights in order to make sure he's not a felon or something. It's like, sorry, that's the fucking law. You're not allowed to stop random people and make sure they're not a felon just because they're doing something that makes you uncomfortable, however, is legal.
Okay. So, will you identify yourself to us?
I don't have to.
Well, you have to identify.
I am going to a fishing pier where my fishing license is covered under that fishing pier.
I understand. And
You
listen,
don't
you're
have
not.
to identify.
Listen, you're not wrong.
I know I'm not.
Okay.
So where are we at?
However,
Where are we at?
I'm
I'm going to a fishing
I'm
pier
trying to
where
explain to you.
I'm covered under the law. I do 901-151.
I'm aware of what it is.
901-151. What crime did I commit?
However, I'm trying to
901-1.
explain. Are you going to let me talk?
Nope. Let me out of this car. Give me my stuff
We
back.
have to
Let me go
verify
about
that
it.
you're not a convicted felon.
You don't. The government is the federal case law has already proven that I do not need to prove myself until I've committed a crime.
Are you refusing to identify yourself?
I'm not refusing anything right now. I am not breaking the law.
Okay, so are you going to tell me who you
I
are?
am not breaking the law. I've already contacted my lawyer.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we
So you're going to get a phone call and saying, "Hey, release this guy."
Okay. Are you going to identify yourself to us?
Under what law did I break? What law did I break?
Hear me out. You're detained because you're walking around.
What law did I break?
I'm trying to explain to you.
What law?
You're temporarily detained.
What law?
Okay.
What law? What law?
Are you going to identify yourself?
What law?
What law did I break? And I will identify myself.
Solo refused
Oh my god, they gave him nothing! Oh!
to identify himself as he had not committed a crime. However, because of his live stream, multiple viewers began calling the department to urge them to release him. One of the callers gave his name, and the department ran his information.
Damn you, chat! Guys, if I'm ever getting arrested and I'm refusing to give the cops my name, don't you dare call the cops and tell them my name. Hey, that's Dark Matt Steve. He's a real piece of shit. Book him.
To clear him as a prohibited person, despite lacking a lawful reason to do so.
The guy you have arrested, his name is Michael Taylor, who is an open carry activist in Florida.
Damn it, chat.
So just try to get a hold of that officer and get him out of handcuffs.
Finally, after being detained...
Who the fuck does this person think they are, calling the cops and saying, get that boy out of handcuffs? He ain't done nothing wrong.
For nearly 45 minutes, the officers realized they had messed up and released Solo with his weapons.
Oops. Oops, we just violated your rights. Hey, why are you so mad that we violated your rights? Hey, settle down.
Oh, you're starting to figure it out, huh? Oh, I got you. It looks like they're starting to get phone calls from people that I know. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah, I've been ready. What's your name and badge number?
My name's Officer Buse. Do you want me to put the handcuffs off?
Yeah, I wanted the handcuffs off. While you're taking my handcuffs off, what's your name? You can go ahead and do whatever you got to do. Take the cuffs off, dude. And hey, what was your name?
Or can you relax so you can...
Shut up. Shut up.
Do you want me to explain to you?
Shut the fuck up.
I don't want an explanation because you guys are all a bunch of tyrants. Did you swear an oath to the Constitution and the Florida Constitution of Florida? Did you swear an oath to the Florida Constitution and the state laws that we have here?
Michael.
Did you swear an oath?
I'm talking to you, Michael.
Okay, then perfect. I just want to. I'm taking my guns. I'm going to reload them. Everybody, I'm reloading.
Reload them in front of the cops. Guys, one time when I got a written arrest for the last time I got arrested for weed in Florida. I was probably the last person to get a weed charge in Florida. When I got arrested, though, I had my firearm on me, and the cops took it and unloaded it, and they actually took all the bullets out of the magazine. It was so funny. It was so funny seeing cops all nervous about dealing with a citizen that had a loaded firearm on them. It is very interesting because most cops, if they're dealing with somebody with a gun, I'd say like probably over 75% of the time they end up confiscating it or something, But when a cop takes your gun from you and then they have to give it back to you, it's so funny seeing how nervous they get. They told me we got back in my buddy's car. We arrested. Everything happened outside of the car, okay? And we were actually held up for hours. It was like 4 hours or something crazy, something like actually ridiculous. I don't even remember. My brain's trying to protect me from reliving that. But we were sat outside getting bit by mosquitoes for hours as these cops tried to verify my concealed carry permit because at the time it was not legal for everyone to concealed carry in Florida. They didn't have the universal law yet. So anyway, but the cops, I get my gun back and ID and everything, and the bullets, all literally a pile of 15 bullets, and the cop is just like, don't reload that when you get back in the car. And I get back in the car and I just started putting the bullets back in and put one in the chamber. I was like, y'all don't know shit. What are you going to fucking do? Don't reload my weapon? The fuck are you going to do?
Guns.
Can I ask that you do it over here out of the public so you don't call?
I'm gonna reload my guns. If you guys want to walk away while I reload my firearms.
My vehicle, Michael. I can't go. Michael, are you
shut the fuck up.
fishing now?
I was on my way to fishing. You
Don't get your flag and your fishing pole.
get the out of here. Hey everybody, what I'm doing is lawful. What I am doing is lawful, and they are trying to criticize me and not defending their oath. Bye, bye, bye.
Towards the end of the encounter, Officer
Oh, nice. I can tell that's some good vindication right there.
Moore says the following.
And that's how you get people to leave Clearwater.
Making it clear that their intent was to run Solo out of town. That is also compounded by radio traffic that shows they knew who he was and what he was doing.
That's how you get people to leave Clearwater? Bro, you know what? This person narrating, they seem to interpret that statement as they're trying to get this guy to leave Clearwater. I think I'm interpreting that as them saying that because this guy is walking around with a gun out in the open, people are going to leave Clearwater because they're scared. I think that's how I'm interpreting that.
Advise you, there is a male subject, shoreline, walking towards Tower 3, appears to be armed, refusing to exit the beach at this time. He's trying to use his Second Amendment right.
Roger.
He's trying to use his Second Amendment right. Call back up.
The officers never found the concealed handgun.
This guy knows his rights. Call back up.
Carried in an inner waistband holster. But the department investigated Solo for 45 days after the incident, looking for a way to charge him with disorderly conduct because of the way he redressed his grievance about his unlawful detention. Lieutenant Hasty wrote on her report that while Solo was detained, she looked up the statute and found that she was wrong, but claimed in her report that a reasonable and prudent person wouldn't walk around in front of other people with an AR-style firearm, despite swearing an oath to uphold the Constitution, including those pesky First and Second Amendments.
Listen to that. A reasonable person wouldn't walk around with a firearm, which is your constitutional right and legally protected. Listen to that. This is what the cops think. If you dare exercise your rights.
Solo has not yet filed a complaint.
All right. That's enough of that. We get it. Cops are retarded sometimes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Dark Times with Dark Man Steve. I know it's early. We got to get out of here. It's 8:37. I was on here too late already. I got to get the fuck out of here. Hope you guys had a good time. This, these audit videos are always interesting to me. But again, sometimes we're at the mercy of the cringiness of the auditor. But it's always a good time. I'm on mushrooms. Hell yeah, Holyoke Joe. I wish I was. Yeah, they were trying to harass this dude. It was bullshit. All right, guys, thank you for the support. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on your way out. I will see you guys maybe Sunday for either a run, Sunday run day, or an ice bath. I did an ice bath last week, but I just didn't do it live. Wasn't too bad. It was actually enjoyable. I was scared because it had been almost a month since I did one. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be so cold. But it wasn't bad. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I'll see you possibly Sunday, but for sure Monday. Everybody take it easy. I'll be, Bubba Army chat in the morning, Monday morning, 6 to 10. Then the Scott Starbird chat. Our buddy Scott Starbird here in the chat. You can click on his profile and go straight to his page and subscribe. I recommend you do that. And then you can be in the chat with me on Monday when he goes live at like 6 p.m., around 6 p.m., little after sometimes, Eastern time. So I'll see you guys then. Everybody take it easy. Love you.